Welcome, welcome. Today's video is a little bit later than it usually is. I try to go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday at about 3 o'clock, but today my kids are on a PA day, which is totally bonkers and crazy because I feel like lockdown just ended a week ago or something and the schools opened up again and now they have a PA day. So basically they just don't go to school. But anyway, that is a whole other thing. But usually I do these videos right before I go pick them up. And today has just been a day at home and doing fun things like baking muffins and all of that stuff. So today I want to talk about 6 things that can really affect your baby's sleep. And the reason why I wanted to do this video today is because I think we forget about all the underlying things that can go into a baby waking up frequently at night. And for the most part, babies are meant to wake up frequently at night. That is just part of being a baby. It is part of how their sleep cycles are designed. It is partially protective to protect them against SIDS so that they're waking up, but it's also partially there so that they, like, their bellies are really small, right? And so they need to be eating and growing and feeding and all of that stuff as well. And so when I see sleep trainers out there talking about how your 4-month-old or your 6-month-old or your 8-month-old or even your 12-month-old should be sleeping through the night, 11 to 12 hours consistently, it really irks me, for lack of better words. Why? Because there are so many underlying reasons why your baby might be waking up frequently. And yes, I know firsthand how exhausting it is to have a baby who will only sleep 2 to 3 hours in a row. My firstborn was like that, Christian, my son. He didn't sleep more than 2 to 3 hours in a row until he was 8.5 months old, and I was losing my mind. And I decided to reach out finally to a sleep consultant and get some help. And I was very picky about who I chose to get help from. And I found someone who really resonated with my style. I didn't want to do the crying it out. I wanted to be really respectful. I wanted to support my baby. I wanted to follow my instincts and go to my baby when he needed me and when he cried. And the sleep consultant really helped me embrace all of those values while also getting sleep by doing various strategies. And so luckily there was not anything significantly underlying his sort of frequent wakes, and it just required a few tweaks here and there. But a lot of the mamas that I work with, we do need to rule out certain things before you can start to expect that your baby will be sleeping longer chunks. And so a lot of the time I look at sleep. I always look at sleep from a holistic perspective, but a lot of the time I really do want to rule out some of these different things before we even start doing any sleep support. Because if you start putting sleep support strategies in place and you still have these underlying things going on, then the sleep support strategies are not necessarily going to work. You're not actually supporting your baby in terms of what they need in their body, in their development, and what's going on in their life at that moment. So as you can tell, good sleep is a result of many variables, and they kind of all need to work together. So it could be development. There's the sensory systems that I look at because that's one of my passions and areas of expertise. We're also looking at routines and what are you doing during the day? Do you have consistent routines during the day? Do you have a bedtime routine? Do you have a nap time routine? Looking at attachment and physical needs, all of these things really impact your baby's ability to sleep. And understanding all of these things and how they can work together can help you start to really think about, like, oh, okay, well, this might be going on with my baby, and that's maybe why they're waking up frequently. So you can kind of think of this video as your roadmap, so to say, to understanding what might be involved in your baby's sleep so that you can set realistic expectations and also understand where to be making changes in order to get better sleep for everyone. Okay. So I am a recovering perfectionist and I love organization. And so I came up with an acronym to really hone in on general categories, which I'm going to share today, of what might affect sleep. And this acronym is actually DREAMS. So DREAMS. And I go into more detail about these inside my free community the Sleep Deprived Zombie Mama community on Facebook. And I go into much more depth inside my signature course, the Holistic Baby Dreams course. But today's video will give you a little taste of what to start thinking about. So D is for development. Oh my goodness, your baby is constantly growing and learning new skills and evolving in all areas of their life. Their body, and so really like your newborn's body and what they're working on is going to be very different than your 18-month-old's body, right? And so having realistic expectations of what your baby's sleep is at each age can also help make the whole sleep stress and process a little easier and less stressful. So thinking about whether your baby is learning new skills or meeting new milestones like rolling or crawling or standing or walking or talking, or maybe they've started solids, or also you want to look at feeding. I include feeding under development because we need to eat in order to grow and develop. But what if your baby has a feeding issue? What if breastfeeding is not going well and they're not actually draining the breast and so they're not getting a full belly? Maybe they have a poor latch and they're getting a lot of air in. Maybe they have a tongue tie or a lip tie that's causing the poor latch and that's causing their inability to suck properly to extract that milk. And then your supply, right? Your milk supply is getting low because baby is not taking the milk out properly, but they're also getting a lot of air in, which can cause things like gas and, lots of hard bellies and bloating and reflux and colic and all of those things as well. And then you also want to think about when your baby starts solids. Are they having reactions to the solids? Do some of the solids maybe not get fully digested in their stomach because there's different digestive enzymes? Your baby's digestive system is still maturing for a long time, especially in that 6 to 12 month mark. And so they're learning how to digest all of these foods. So are they more constipated because they are now eating solids and that's not getting fully digested? So thinking about these kinds of things. Then, of course, there's cognitive development and social emotional development, separation anxiety you've all heard about. And then even thinking about your baby's temperament. So like their personality. All of these things can affect sleep. And so as your baby grows, their sleep needs are going to change, their sleep cycles are going to change, and the way that the architecture of the sleep cycles is changing. And so all of these different developmental sort of things can impact sleep and cause more frequent waking on a short-term basis. Because literally when we sleep, our brain is on overdrive because our brain is processing and it's consolidating the memories and it's really cleaning everything up and making sense of things. And so it's on overdrive, and that takes a lot of energy. So you want to just be thinking about those things. Okay, so R, I like to call for rhythms, routines, and regulation. I know I've clumped a whole 3 different things into there, but it's all good. So you really want to find a natural rhythm to your day. You want that to be somewhat consistent. You probably already have a natural rhythm to your day without even realizing it. Probably get up in the morning. Maybe you have to have your first cup of coffee before you do anything so that your brain can function. Or maybe you have a specific morning routine. Maybe that's when you work out. Or, you are nursing your baby and then you're doing whatever. You probably do have a natural rhythm that you've fallen into, but we really want to build in these rhythms and these routines throughout the day, because creating a consistent, joyful, relaxing routine, especially around sleep time, so nap time and bedtime, can really help our bodies and our babies' bodies settle down and wind down and realize, it's time for sleep. Okay. And so the other part of that is that babies are meant to be dependent on us. Okay. So we're not meant to be teaching independence, especially not from an early age. It doesn't even work like that. But babies also need us to co-regulate with them during the day and also at night. And this is how they can really start to experience what regulation in their own body feels like. So regulating from a distress state to calm, but also from calm to calm, and regulating through those partial arousals that happen after each sleep cycle. And so this is how they learn to experience what that regulation feels like so that they can eventually, when their brains are ready, start doing that on their own. And I'll just tell you that self-regulation doesn't even start to develop until about 3 to 4 years of age. So teaching your 4-month-old how to self-regulate and put themselves to sleep is a bunch of BS. Okay. E is for environment. So I like to think of this because this is a big category. This includes a lot of things, like really thinking about, is your baby's environment conducive to sleep? And this is something that you do have some control over. So generally you want to think like a caveman. So dark, quiet, calm, and cool. So you want to think about things like the temperature. Often cooler is better than warmer because we sleep better in cooler temperature. You want to think about light versus dark. No, you don't need blackout blinds during nap times, but it would be a good idea to have blackout blinds at night, especially if you have a baby who is waking up really early in the morning, because that blackout blind is going to help to keep things dark until a normal time in the morning where you can get up. And help with their circadian rhythm, because circadian rhythm really functions between light and dark as well. You want to think about noise. Is it noisy where you live? Can they hear the traffic outside of the window? Does the garbage truck go by at 5 o'clock in the morning? Does the heat kick on at some point at night? And so you really want to be thinking about these. And so do you use white noise? Do you use pink noise? Do you use no noise? Like, you want to think about that. Do you use intermittent noise? Do you use continuous noise? All of these kinds of things can play a role. You also want to think about clothing. And to be honest, like cotton clothing and breathable kind of materials are going to be much better than something like fleece or polyester or synthetics that can really kind of keep you sweaty. Because again, we want to be cool when we're sleeping. We want to be comfortable, right? We don't want to be like, oh God, I'm so hot, or this thing is so itchy, right? So you want to think about all of those things. You also want to think about, sleep surfaces and what's comfortable for your baby. Where are they sleeping? And like, that's part of the environment as well. And then A is for attachment and associations. And it's the associations, it's the sleep associations. For me, I love more the better. You are not creating any bad habits by supporting your baby to fall asleep and also back to sleep in the middle of the night. We're all looking to build secure attachment with our babies and our children. Let's just be honest here, okay? And the thing is that it's a 24-hour job. You can't build secure attachment during the day and then ignore all of their needs at night. It doesn't work like that. That leads to an insecure attachment because your baby doesn't really know when they can count on you and when they can't, because they don't necessarily understand day versus night, okay? So just know that you can choose connection over the separation. So like all of the extinction methods of sleep training, or the time checks, or the like, oh, you can be in the room, but you can't look at them, or any of that kind of stuff. You can start choosing connection. You can support your baby anytime you want to. You can build their trust in you, and this can improve their sleep too, because they trust you. They know that you're going to be there when they need you. So when they're toddlers or preschoolers and they have a nightmare, they're going to know that they can come to ask you for help, okay? And you will be there. They can count on you. This is part of how we build independence, is that we first let them rest in dependence, and then when they're ready, they can move to independence when they are ready, okay? And then the sleep associations, I love more the merrier, because then if one stops working, like for example, nursing to sleep eventually stops once your baby gets a little older. They generally don't fall asleep at the breast anymore. And then you're going to want other sleep associations or sleep cues to help you put them to sleep. So I like the more the merrier. It makes it easier to change if you need to change. It makes it also easier to have other people put them to sleep. Okay. M is for making time for mama, because you matter too, mama, and your mental health matters, and also your self-care matters, because really, motherhood is not easy. And you've got hormones and emotions that are all over the place. And, you are stressed about sleep, and you're stressed about development. You want to do the best for your baby. You've got all these things going on, and you're exhausted, and you add all of the layers, and it's hard. And so really we need to fill our own cups too, because if you run on empty, you are not going to be able to parent the way you want to parent. You're going to be more frustrated, you're going to be more snappy, you're going to be more angry in the nighttime, like I was with my first when he wouldn't sleep, and I was like, oh my god, I hate the nighttime, I hate you. Oh, it was awful. um so yeah, you want to get support, because we're not meant to do this alone. And you really want to make sure that you have some time to re-energize yourself, to fill your love cup too, instead of always focusing on filling everyone else's love cups, because we do that too as mamas. And so this is all about making sure, because our energy is tied to our baby's energy, and they read our energy. And if you're frustrated, they're going to be more frustrated and clingy and fussy. But if you can maintain calm and regulate yourself, then they have a better chance of being regulated and calm and happy as well. Okay. And then the last one is S. And S is sort of a catch-all category for all those pesky little sleep challenges and interrupters that didn't really fit anywhere else. So things like illness, things like teething, things like colic, things like travel, things like returning to work, things like siblings sharing a room, things like waiting for a new baby. All of those things can definitely put a little bump into your sleep road. Um, but it's okay, because there are ways to get through all of those things. There are ways to get through all of those while still responding to and supporting your baby day and night. Okay. Um, and then in the course, I also go through things like early rising and strategies for split nights, which are those middle of the night parties, and false starts, which is when when you put your baby to sleep and then like 45 minutes later, they're up again. So there's lots of things to consider, but I hope that this video gave you a little bit more to think about in terms of all the things that could be going on with your baby and underlying their frequent wakes, and also some ideas of where you can start making some little tweaks and changes to really start supporting and optimizing sleep for your baby, but also for yourself. I would love to know if you have any questions. You can post those down below this video. I would also love if you could share this video with another mama who you think would benefit from this. And please feel free to come and ask your questions either under the video or inside my free Sleep Deprived Zombie Mama community over on Facebook. That's it for now. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.